Go for it. That is the message from the moon on this Gemini full moon that we have happening December 4th, 2025. Now, full moons are culmination points, and we have an 18-month pattern that is actually repeating on this Gemini full moon with the planet Neptune. It's at its culmination point in Pisces. So we are being called on this full moon to be present more than we have, I would argue, all year. And if you do nothing else on this full moon, stay present and don't miss your moment. Hi, I'm Laura Custo, and this is the Moon Method. Each week, I break down the best way to use the current energies above based on the primary moon phase. And if you haven't yet, go grab my free guide, The Moon Phase Compass. It's full of simple foundational knowledge that you can use forever to work with the moon's energy. That's at lauracusto.com/guide. With that, let's talk about this Gemini full moon. Don't miss your moment, right? That message from the moon, go for it. Okay, well, what is this all about? I'm going to give you 3 steps to working with this energy. Step 1, prepare your mindset going into this full moon. Take a moment and stop and understand what we are all walking into on this Gemini full moon. Again, full moons are culmination points. This one is at 13 degrees Gemini. Now, we also had 2 other moon phases around that 13 degree Gemini, anywhere between 12 and like 16 degrees. Okay, they're all at basically the same point up there in the sky. The first date that you want to look at to help you wrap your mind around where we're at today, understand where we are at this moment of time, is the new moon that happened around that 13 degree Gemini mark back on June 6, 2024. That was 18 months ago. The second date you want to look at is the first quarter that also happened right around 13 Gemini on March 6th, 2025. Now, with these 2 dates, you're looking for 2 different things. Back on June 6, 24, you're looking for intentions that you set. You're looking for your dreams. What was your mindset about what you wanted to call into your life, okay? The first quarter, you're looking for commitments that you made, actions taken with the external world, things that you did, things you bought, things you started, things you stopped, okay? So 2 very different things, but you want to see what were you starting, what were you thinking about, and then what may you have set into motion, all right? But here we are again. The moon is phasing up in Gemini into that full moon. And so we're in this Gemini energy. All 3 of these dates, we're in Gemini energy, and we're in what Gemini represents. Gemini is a very analytical sign. It involves thinking. It involves communicating. It's analysis. It's learning, all right? It's friendships. It's a very friendly social sign. Now, Gemini will also represent something for you based on your unique birth chart. If you have your chart and you know what I'm talking about, go grab it. See what area of life Gemini oversees. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have 2 ways I can help you. One is through Moon Map, which is a DIY on each moon phase type of course that you can buy from me, but you'll get what you need to follow along with each of these moon phases. The other way I can help is through my membership called Moon Chat, and that is basically a $19 a month. I give you custom messages right when you need them membership. I'll put links for those at the top of the show notes, so go ahead and check those out. But again, we're in Gemini. It oversees something for everyone, but for everyone, there's that Gemini energy. Again, very social, thinking, analytical. And we're here again, okay? Now, though, I need to overlay another planet because it's been doing something incredibly consistent over those 3 dates as well. And that is Neptune. Neptune on this full moon, December 4th, is at 29 degrees of Pisces. But it was also at 29 degrees Pisces back on the first quarter of March 6th of this year, 2025. That's interesting. Oh, but it gets better. It was also at 29 degrees Pisces back on that new moon, June 6, 2024. You're probably wondering, Laura, how the heck does that work? Well, here's the thing. Neptune is really far out in the solar system, and it moves really slowly around the sun. It takes 165 years for it to go all the way around. So that in combination with its retrograde motion every year means that it has been ebbing and flowing over that 29-degree mark for the last 18 months. And it has been perfectly on that 29-degree mark on these 3 dates. Now, again, it sits on 29 degrees for a while, for probably 2, 3, 4 weeks sometimes, okay? So it just so happens that these 3 dates over an 18-month period, Neptune's at 29 degrees. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Okay. The next thing you might be wondering, well, okay, 29 degrees. Is there anything special about 29 degrees? Yes, there is. It's the last degree of any sign. Okay. The signs go from 0 to 29 degrees. That's how we measure it. It's a little counterintuitive, right? You would think maybe we would start at 1 and go to 30. But no, in astrology, it's 0 to 29. It's just how we do it. But 29 is the final degree of any sign, right? There's 29 degrees in Pisces, 29 in Aries, 29 in Gemini, etc., all the signs, 29 degrees. The 29th degree of any sign is called the anaretic degree. Now, an anaretic degree is just it's a fancy word, and what it means, it's the culmination point of that specific sign. So we have a full moon culmination in Gemini. Full moons are always culmination points. It's a culmination of the last 18 months. And at the exact same time, Neptune is at its culmination point, and it's been at that culmination point on those 2 other key dates that have created this Gemini culmination point. So do you see like all the culmination that's happening here? Neptune has literally been guiding us to have a culmination, a huge Neptunian breakthrough on this full moon. Hence where the main points in this framework for this week come from. Don't miss your moment and take your opportunity, okay? So step 1 is to prepare this mindset. Get your head in the game. Look at the dates, unearth what was going on, find the story arc, the theme, get a sense for what could be culminating, all right? Now, a little hint here. Neptune in Pisces has been about the possibility of big awakenings. Neptune moves really slowly, right? It spends about 13 years in a sign. So for the last 13 years, that's been the theme, big awakenings. And Gemini is the sign that rules the mind, right? I mentioned that before. So something along the lines of a theme here could be your beliefs. What do you believe to be true? Big, big, big beliefs, right? Big awakening beliefs. You know, what do you know to be true? What do you believe to be true? This has been in a time of expansion of the higher mind and our overall awareness. All right, so that's just a little hint for what I would also be looking at with those themes. Okay, now that your head is in the game, let's move to step 2. Step 2 is simple. Be present. When this full moon comes around on the 4th and you've completed step 1, the best thing you can do is settle into a state of presence. All right, we're really kind of now, I've hyped up the fact that there's a culmination point, so you might be looking for it. I don't want to lead you down that path, because when you come into something with that level of focus, from that state of intensity, it pushes it away, actually. You know, this is all law of attraction type stuff. So you want to simply do step 1. What I would do is I would write down some notes, get some key themes along with the dates, energies of Gemini in general, all the things I've talked about here, right? And then your last step is to simply let it go. Now, I would actually do a mini ritual with this. Now, stay with me here. I'm not going to get too woo with you here, but this is rooted in science too, as is everything that I do and I take seriously. There's always a scientific reason behind it. So what rituals do is they teach the subconscious, which is so amazing. When I learned that the subconscious learns through ritual, I developed a whole new appreciation for ritual. So back in step 1, here's what I would do. Take those notes, the dates, what your intentions were, what happened on the first quarter, the area of life, if you have it, key themes, etc. Summarize that in your own words in your notes. And then simply we're going to get still. This is, again, mini ritual. We're just going to get still. Maybe you put your hands in prayer, but you get calm and centered. Close your eyes. You can interlock your hands. You can set them in your lap. You know, whatever feels authentic to you and appropriate to you, okay? But just get really centered. And then in your mind, also go through and summarize those themes, all right? Just kind of walk through them, walk through them, walk through them. And then end those thoughts with, you want to put a bow on it, right? Say something like, okay, and on this Gemini full moon, I am open to receiving the full realization of what I have been co-creating. So be it, and so it is, right? But setting that intention, again, in a very calm, eyes closed, almost prayerful, meditative state. Again, what we're seeking here is to just really infuse this feeling into our whole body, the feeling, the energy, to have our whole body feel it, right? That's subconscious, all right? And then you're locking it in. That's what you're doing there, all right? It's as simple as that. And so trust that, again, this is science. The ritual creates memories in the subconscious. So once you've done this, you can let it go. You don't have to walk through this full moon constantly on the lookout for a culmination point, right? Again, that's going to push it away. So we don't want to do that. So you've locked it in. Trust that the pattern will be recognized when it surfaces. And throughout the days leading up to the 4th, again, late on this day of the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, even into the 5th and the 6th, just kind of like take a moment every day, reflect upon what has been happening. Make sure that you're not missing anything, that you might have glossed over something that perhaps could have happened, okay? Keep that awareness open. But the reason we want to look the days up before and after is because this energy of the full moon just doesn't pop in and out. It builds and then it subsides, all right? Okay, step 3, we're going to take our opportunity. So if at some point you are presented with a choice point, I want to say don't be too quick to judge and don't be too quick to dismiss. That's how we end up missing things. And that's my biggest warning here. You're going through your life, your reflexes are going to kick in. You're going to just do things the way that you've always done it. But again, we're looking for this breakthrough of awareness, a culmination point. Again, it's just some breakthrough in something that you believe, something that you think would be a really great expression of this Gemini full moon energy. So the thing is that you may be missing out on opportunities to expand your awareness because you've been too quick to dismiss them. So don't say no too quickly. Allow yourself time to consider. And when you do see an opportunity, take it. Allow yourself to experience something new. So you especially want to allow these types of things. You want to allow your mind to consider something new, reading something new, hearing a new story, analyzing something in a new way, hearing someone's point of view that you've been too quick to dismiss. And allowing yourself to look at something with fresh eyes, right? Gemini, back to it's our mind, it's our thinking, it's our analysis. But Neptune here at the end of Aries, again, this is the last time we're going to have Neptune. It's at the end of Pisces. It's the last time we're going to have it there for 165 years. We will never see another full moon in Gemini in our lives where Neptune is in Pisces, let alone 29 degrees of Pisces, okay? So this is how you use this energy most effectively. And with that, I'd love to hear from you now. Let me know what themes you're noticing and what are you uncovering in that step 1? What is the story so far? I'd love to know. Drop that in the comments below. Okay, I'm sending you lots of love and encouragement to open up and seize the day. Okay, Carpe Diem on this Gemini full moon, December 4th. And as always, until next week, take care.